Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. It's actually Town of Old Saybrook night tonight on the Pete Mezzetti Show. And with me to discuss what's going on with the Town of Old Saybrook is Heather McNeil, who's the director of Old Saybrook Youth and Family.
Hi, Pete. Nice to see you
Heather,
again.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
It's been a while.
Yeah, not too long, but I always like coming in and telling you what's going on.
Well, what's going on?
Yeah, well,
Talk
we
to
have
me.
a lot of summer programming coming up, and
Cool.
two of the things I was going to talk to you about tonight have to do with recent stories that were on another television show with high-functioning autism and Asperger's spectrum disorder, autism spectrum disorder, a support group that we've been doing at the agency for over 11 years.
Okay.
That's been gathering a lot of kind of statewide attention for the kind of support and resources we offer. And it may be the only one of its kind in the state, so we're really excited to talk about that. And then some services that are designed, we have designed girls groups and boys groups as well, and some components that I can share with your viewers around that.
Where do you want to start?
Why don't we start with the autism spectrum disorder group?
Sure.
And it's a mouthful. I wish we had like a short title for it, but it's a parent and caregiver support group for youth and young adults on the high-end, high-functioning autism spectrum disorder or neurodivergent.
Okay.
So again, it's a mouthful, but Joanne Deal is a clinician who's been with us about 14 years and been doing the group for 11, and is so knowledgeable and really breaks up the topics as they align maybe with people's calendars or school topics. For instance, around the holidays, sometimes those youth and young adults experience a lot of anxiety around holiday get-togethers, changes in their schedule. Then around March, she may do a topic around PPTs and IEPs at school, because that's when that happens.
Yep.
And parents and caregivers need a lot of support and resources and sometimes advocacy around how to make sure they get enough services for their students and to help them through that process. So I encourage anybody who's interested to give us a call at the agency.
Okay.
It's usually the second Thursday of the month, and we do one midday at the agency in person. And then through COVID, we were offering it virtually, and so we still do that in the evening on the same day, that same Thursday. And Joanne, I believe, has people from 4 different states calling in now who saw us on the news and wanted to find out how they could learn more. So we can offer that information on our website, which is osyfs.org.
Yeah.
And then you'll get a link sent to you to watch, to be part of the meeting that month.
Now, when you guys were on the other network talking about the program, can we maybe talk a little bit about that? What you guys talked about, what you covered?
Sure. I think what was most interesting was how caring Joanne is and how knowledgeable. She does a ton of research. So when people come to a meeting like that, not only do they get, she's a therapist, so they get the empathic, compassionate, warm feeling from her, but she does a ton of research and really provides them with practical tools and strategies for handling not only their young person's sometimes behavior related to their condition, but also strategies for the larger system, whether it's helping a young adult get a job, job coaching services, or becoming independent and living alone or out in the community. So she really does a nice job of the therapy piece, but also the practical application of some skills for the group. So we talked about that.
Now, as far as the group, is the group every week or every?
It's usually the second Thursday of the month. I think the next dates are June 13th and July 11th.
All right.
And those are posted on our website again.
Alrighty.
And so the June one is summer and schedule disruption, which sometimes people go on vacation. People don't, sometimes the students don't like to be out of their normal routine.
Right.
They don't like to be away from their stuff. And so sensory processing challenges will be part of that conversation. And then the July one is working with our AS, or high functioning autism, children's meltdowns and stresses on the neurotypical sibling. Because sometimes there are other people in the family and other children in the family who may get somewhat overshadowed by the parents' focus on the other.
On one child over the other.
Yeah. And it's unavoidable, but
Right.
we talk about that piece.
And what can they do if one child is getting
they feel an imbalance or
Yes.
an unfairness?
Yes.
That's a great question, Pete, and I think that could be true also if there's a child in the family who has a chronic illness or has had some kind of physical accident.
Sure.
So I think there's not one size that fits all, typically
Right.
for each, but we would talk about, because parents may be feeling burned out by how much attention they have to spend towards one or the other.
Right.
So sometimes we talk about supports for the parents, like who else could you call in as part of your team
Right.
to either maybe take the other sibling to their basketball practice or dance recital or things like that.
Yep.
How can you call in the recruits to help share some of that burden? And how can the parents take care of themselves too, so that they have enough energy to take care of all their children?
Right.
So.
Now, as far as, tell us what we didn't talk about during the monologue, is tell us a little bit about yourself and Youth and Family.
Sure. Old Saybrook Youth and Family, we're coming up on our 50th anniversary next year, so serving the town of Old Saybrook. And in the 169 towns in Old Saybrook, there are about 142, I think, youth service bureaus.
Yeah.
There is a state mandate that towns should have them. Some towns have a regional one, like Tri-Town is Chester, Deep River, and Essex.
Yep.
Some are municipally funded and some are 501c3s. We're municipally funded, and we have a residency requirement. So our clinical services we provide to the residents of Old Saybrook. Some of our programming, and this was actually one of the positive outcomes of the COVID experience, was that doing so much virtually, we've been able to share a lot of our programming online with people from all over.
Cool.
And youth service bureaus have a habit of doing that anyway, because we're typically not hugely funded. We're very grateful in Old Saybrook, we're well funded, but a lot of the other 501c3s are sometimes struggling.
Right.
So we share what we have, and so we don't want to all be doing the same program. We sometimes move it from one town to another.
Okay.
Westbrook and Saybrook, we work together all the time.
Right.
And I'm part of a regional consortium where we share resources and programming. So.
And I see that the Old Saybrook Westbrook Exchange Club recently did an event, and you guys
Yes.
partnered with that as well.
Well, they're always so great, and we don't do any of the heavy lifting or the work. They're great,
Yeah.
and they hold that every year, and they raise money that they share with Westbrook Youth and Family and with Old Saybrook, and we've always been very grateful for that. And we typically utilize that money for positive youth development programming, specifically.
Let's talk about the Project Youth Development
Sure.
program.
Sure. So it really it's a broad range of programming, but the idea behind it is to disguise some of the therapeutic work we do in a fun topic. So we might have Zen time, which is really about emotional regulation, self-soothing, conflict resolution, de-escalation technique. But if we say that to a kid, they're not going to want to come,
No,
right?
of course
So we
not.
call it Zen time, and we do things like make stress balls, or we do coloring, or we do essential oils, and we do kind of fun things. Or we take a lot of walks around town and do fun things. We partner with a lot of businesses along Main Street who might provide us with, we could stop in and get a frozen yogurt or
Yep.
an ice cream at Dairy Queen, or go into Starbucks. So we take the kids out and about because we want them to interact with other adults in the community. And we know that other adults in the community love to see kids out and about doing good things. So positive youth development is about providing them with opportunities to become more of a part of their community, and for the community to volunteer positive adult role models to help kids know that they're cared for within their community and that they matter.
Right. And I'm sure now that the school year is about to wind down, you guys are probably going to have a pretty busy summer.
We do. We're very excited because we live in such a beautiful area. We want to take advantage of being outside and doing as much as we can.
Right.
Our Wilderness Challenge program is coming up on, I think it's 37th year.
Okay.
With our leader, Brenda Partika. And this year, we usually only have one group of 7th graders going into 8th grade. This year it was so popular, we're taking 2 groups.
Oh, man.
They'll be going on the Appalachian Trail hiking. 7 kids in each group with 3 wilderness school coordinators. And that will be, I think, June 24th through the 28th. So it's actually 5 days.
Wow.
And they take everything they're going to need in a pack on their back, whether it's the things they're going to cook, the food, things to clean up, their tent and their clothes and everything. So we do a lot of pre-course activities for that. But one of the things we're learning, certainly as we go forward, is that for mental health and stress release, sometimes physical activity is really what the doctor ordered.
Right.
Putting away our phones, technology is not allowed on the Wilderness Challenge.
Oh, no?
So we get kids to put down their phones and just go outside and explore. And the Saybrook has the preserve,
Yep.
beaches. We do some community service weeks with high school kids where we go to the Common Good Garden at the Grace Church. We help with Meals on Wheels. We have a food drive at Stop and Shop, and we do a cleanup on the causeway.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Now, when's the food drive?
I shouldn't have said it if you're going to ask me the date. I can send you that tomorrow, but usually the weeks begin in July.
Okay.
So it would usually be on a Tuesday, maybe 3 Tuesdays in July. We advertise it ahead of time, and people are always extremely generous, and the cost of food has really hit everybody.
Oh, yes,
so
it
hard,
has.
And sometimes the pantries don't get as many donations during the summer
Right.
as might be typical around a holiday, so we like to do that piece.
Now, as far as we also have a mini golf event?
Yeah, well, that's part of the Boys Council, actually. So
Let's
I
talk about that.
didn't know if I brought you a flyer, but
Okay.
So the Boys Council, the other story that was on the news recently were 2 of our clinicians who happen to be male, and they've been doing a lot of research around, what are some topics in mental health specific to boys?
Right.
And what we are finding, and this is culturally, all over the place, gender roles have shifted, and we want to give a space to boys to be able to talk about what does it mean to them to be growing up male in our society.
Right.
How do you express your feelings? Is it okay to have feelings? Of course it is,
Sure
right?
it is.
How do you make friends? How do you talk to each other? So again, in the guise of fun, and Boys Council is, it's going to have a lot of activities, but underneath it all, it's going to be about developing some skills to make new friends, to feel okay being who you are,
Right.
to figure out, challenging some of the stereotypes around being a male in our society. So the golf part of it is that we take them to different mini golf places around the state.
Okay.
And we check out different locations like in Southington or Bristol or Middletown. We end up in Old Saybrook because that's a beautiful spot right on the water. And so it's a little bit of a tournament, and it, it's fun and it's productive at the same time.
Sounds to me like it's a great time.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the Boys Council. As far as membership, as far as how many kids are involved?
Yeah, well, it's for 7th and 8th grade, and that's going to be in the summer, so the signups are just going out now.
Okay.
And so if folks are interested, they should go to our website. We do have a resident and a non-resident price, but for 6 weeks, it's $25. That's it for the whole thing. So it's very reasonable in terms of anyone wanting to get their kids involved. We have it from 10 to 12 on a Thursday.
Okay.
So then that way they have their whole afternoon to go and do something else.
Right.
But we keep them busy for the 2 hours. And we can take up to, I think, 12 students.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Because we do have transportation at the agency, so we can drive them around.
Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Sure, I'd love
All right.
to.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Okay, so we drowned the fire,
Yep.
stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Heather McNeil from Old Saybrook Youth and Family. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we were talking during the break, and I understand we have a girls' circle as well besides the...
We do.
Let's talk about it.
Yep. So the 2 therapists that I mentioned, Adam and Justin, do the Boys Council, and then Trish Strecker, she's a marriage and family therapist also. She has Girls Circle, which is a curriculum-based program for girls, and it's 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. So what we know from our work within the middle school is that sometimes that's an age range where relationships become a little prickly, and there's sometimes conflict that interferes with their academic process. And so we work within the schools all year round, and we designed these programs to work with some of the same students during the summer.
Okay.
Because one of the things that we noticed was if we have contact with the students all through the school year and then we don't see them for 2.5 months,
Right.
they lose some of what we've worked on, and
Right.
there's some disconnection. So we wanted to have some summer programs that were fun, but still kept us in touch with some of the same skill building that we do during the school year.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we have some master level interns working with us this year
Okay.
from Southern Connecticut State University, Central Connecticut, and University of New Haven. So those are all graduate students earning their marriage and family therapy graduate degree. And so they've been in the schools with us this year, and they'll also be with us over the summer.
Wow.
So,
very cool.
yeah. Yep, it's a great way to give them some training with a wide variety of age ranges, but also provides extra services to the town and doesn't cost the town any additional fee.
No, no.
So, yeah.
And like you said before, you guys are town funded.
Right, yep, right, which allows us to keep the price so low for programming.
Yep.
So we have some other programming coming up
Sure.
specifically for teens, grades 9 through 12. We'll be going to Block Island. That date is on our website as well. Take them over on the ferry, spend the day either on bikes or just going to the beach or walking. One trip to Six Flags, which is full already. That's always full every year.
Oh, wow.
And so we like to take kids out of their comfort zone
Right.
and give them some challenges where things that they might not have the opportunity to do otherwise. So those will be fun.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Sounds like you guys got a great summer plan so
Yeah,
far.
I think we do. I think the town departments work really well together, and Park and Rec, as you know, is within walking distance of our building, so we're always with Park and Rec doing
Yeah.
different things, and that's nice because the kids go to camp and then they sometimes come over to us in the afternoon for other programs. So,
And now, obviously, you guys are busy all summer, then you guys ramp up again once the school year starts.
we do, and we're actually meeting tomorrow with the whole 8th grade class in different periods to get them ready for when we take the whole class to Camp Hazen in September. So that's been going on, I think, since 2007, and it used to be an overnight trip, but now we do it just for the day because
Right.
it gets a little complicated with after-school schedules and cost, to be
Yeah.
honest. So this year, Camp Hazen will be coming to the high school on September 10th
All
for
right.
some relationship and team building exercises in the school. And then Friday the 13th, we'll take the entire class over to Camp Hazen in Chester for a full day of outdoor activities and fun.
Cool.
Yeah. And transition to high school is a really, really important developmental phase.
Yep.
So we have a lot of high school upperclassmen who join in this process. They work with the freshmen at orientation, and then 2 weeks later, they'll be coming with us on that program.
Nice.
Yeah. So it helps them form a relationship with the freshmen.
Right. And you guys have a new superintendent in Old Saybrook.
We do.
He was on with me not long ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't met him yet. I'm going to be
he's
meeting
great.
him in a week or two. Yeah, we're looking forward to working together, and we have proposed to the Board of Ed doing a student survey
Okay.
in November, and that was before he started, so I'm hoping to finish that conversation with him,
Yeah.
although the Board of Ed did approve it.
Oh, did they?
Yes, yes. So that helps us. We haven't done it since 2017.
Oh, wow.
We used to do it every 3 years, and then COVID happened in 2020 when we would have done it. And then since that time, it's been very challenging to try to get it done again. So it allows us to hear from students grades 6 through 12 with their parents' permission. It's a very short survey, takes about 20 minutes to do in class, and it's a variety of topics around their extracurricular activities, use of technology, some of their knowledge on substance use, and just a little bit more about who they are and what kind of supports they might need in the community. And that information is utilized by our agency, but also we share it with the school because we're all working together to support the kids.
Right.
So we share all that information, and that's how we develop programs to implement going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what other programs can we talk about? We've got a little bit more time.
Well, I think on a regular basis, we have our counseling services, which are, there's been more of a request for those in the last year or so, definitely for younger and younger grades. So we do individual, couple, or family counseling at the agency, so
Right.
folks can reach out. We do accept insurance reimbursement.
Okay.
And then because it's a town-funded agency, if someone has an inability to pay, we still provide services.
Really?
So I know accessing mental health services is a real challenge for a lot of folks, either finding available providers or being able to afford it. So a youth and family is a great place to start.
Let's talk about accessing mental health
Sure.
services, because it sounds to me like it's a very important topic.
It is, it is. Well, I think for the average person, first of all, trying to figure out what's going on with them is a challenge, and they might not have the language for it, and
Right.
our agency might be the first time they come in to talk to someone about that.
Right.
So we can reassure them that it's fairly normal, that other people feel the same way, and we can also assess, do they need a higher level of mental health care? Because we don't do medication management
Nope.
and things like that, and we're typically once a week. So we can assess them if they need a higher level of care, and we can help them access that by showing them how to do that.
Right.
And then sometimes it's very frustrating because they can't get a call back from providers who are very busy or just not taking new clients. So sometimes through our network, we can find somebody who would be able to help them. And again, I think the fact that we work with them and don't just say, go figure it out,
Yeah, right?
is really, really important. Because it can be very confusing. And for a parent who's trying to find services for their child, it can be very frustrating and scary
Oh, yeah.
too.
Of course it can. Now, as far as other programs and services that you guys offer to
Sure.
the public, let's maybe
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, within our office is social services. And so that's, heating assistance, food assistance, access to care. And that's just such a small description really for what that department does.
Right.
It's a department of 1.5 people who really cover so much ground. And they arrange for Social Service Help Day, which is usually the last Friday of the month. It just happened this past Friday. And that's usually at Grace Episcopal Church. And they alternate with Clinton because the two towns share this process because people can go to more than one food site.
Right.
So the Connecticut Food Bank truck will come down, and sometimes we'll get a dental truck down or a breast exam truck to come down. Access Health will come down, because sometimes even just filling out the forms is very overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
And having someone to sit there and do that with you, or if you don't have the technology skills to do it, having someone to do it with you is very comforting. So social services is a huge part of what our agency is about. Accessing, identifying folks within the community who are under-resourced in a variety of different ways.
Right.
And there's sometimes an overlap with those folks and ones who need mental health support as well.
Right.
So,
Now, you guys said your day just happened. It's usually the last Friday of the month.
Yes.
So it just
Yep.
happened the other day.
yep. And it's usually, I think, 9 to 11:30.
Okay.
So the food service truck comes, but we also usually have diapers, hygiene products,
Yep.
things like that. And then we get donations all the time. The Lions Club in Saybrook is phenomenal with donations. But formula, things that people are struggling to access on their own
Oh, yeah.
or can't buy with their food stamp cards. And those services have been cut as well on a state level. And then the summer food program has been cut as well. So we'll have supplies within our office, and our social services group already have the families identified who can come by and just pick up a backpack or let us know that they need more supplies, and we're happy to do that.
So the budget got cut for.
Well, on the state level,
Right.
yeah. So access to food. And for families whose kids sometimes eat lunch at school, that's a big shift then when those kids come home for the summer and everybody has to eat at home.
Right.
So we really try to help with that.
It's a very impressive.
Well, I have to give Susan Consoli and Kelsey Christensen all the credit for that, because Susan's been working for years, really organizing the food drives and Social Service Help Day, because those services never used to come down
Yep.
here because there was a perception the shoreline didn't need it. But as we know,
Of course they do.
Yeah,
course
as we
they do.
know, there's more and more folks
Right.
who do. Yeah.
And when you guys do the food drive, you get a pretty good response?
We definitely do. When we go to Stop and Shop, first of all, people love to see the teenagers out there.
Uh-huh.
And part of our work with them is just talking to them about how to say hello to another grown-up that they're not related to, how to
Right.
strike up a conversation and talk about what they're doing. But people are very generous, and even folks who may be struggling themselves will always donate something to it.
And you know as well as I do, yes, the price of food went up recently, and it's
Yeah,
probably might have to go up again.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not an economist.
right. And the way that it connects with our work in the school is that when kids go to school or come to one of our activities, if they don't have enough nutrition, they can't take part in those activities in a way
No,
that, they can't learn, they can't run around, so.
They can't focus.
Right, right. So we do have a big closet of snacks at the Youth and Family, so we give them
okay.
snacks after school, but we want to make sure that they have stuff to take home too for the family.
Now, you guys are right downtown Old Saybrook, correct?
We are, we're right next to the fire department,
Okay.
322 Main Street.
I know exactly where you are.
Yep, and so kids can walk over for after school. We're right near the Park and Rec, and Kate has a summer program for music and.
You're right around the corner from the town hall,
Right, right,
literally.
yep. Yeah, there's always a lot going on.
Everything's just wonderful about the town of Old Saybrook. It's so
Thanks.
compact.
Yeah, I like it. Yep.
And before we say goodnight, what closing thoughts?
Well, I think that we just want to encourage parents to get outside with the kids over the summer. We do try to suggest reducing technology use, and that's always it's a bit of a hard sell because we're all,
Right.
I'm on my phone too. So we just ask about reducing it, and especially before bedtime, like
Yeah.
at least an hour before bedtime. We do recommend not having it in the room that the kids don't sleep with it.
Right.
Because it impacts their sleep, and they might be on it later at night.
Exactly.
So, whatever kind of support we can offer around technology-free zones, and normalizing that,
Right. Right.
So,
And website for you guys one more time.
sure, osyfs.org, and our main phone number is 860-395-3190.
Heather McNeil from Youth and Family, thanks for some time. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Great, thank you. I'd love to come back.
Thanks. On behalf of Heather McNeil, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night. We'll see you next week.